we got I will call it the Bray Wyatt QR code, and I didn't get a chance to pull it up, but there's been so much speculation on this new Bray Wyatt themed faction. People are speculating Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacey, Erick Rowan. They're expecting 6 people for the Wyatt 6. So many other people and things could be happening here. Jimmy, I want to go to you first. Thoughts on this, who you think could be in it, where you think this could be going, just any kind of takeaways on this group, because that seems to be what a lot of people are talking about these days.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and a lot of the names being thrown out there are very possible participants in this group, if there is a 6-member group here. And one name that I find interesting that's not on there that I'm kind of curious that I would like to possibly see on there because of his work at NXT returning is Sean Spears. I like that kind of dark character that he's developed down there, and I'd like maybe he would be a perfect fit for this. I don't know. I kind of have to see it, but again, moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this, because obviously it's going to be tricky, I think, to pay the proper respect and homage to the Bray Wyatt character in the same vein. You don't want to. And hopefully, like we've said before, just please don't call it the Uncle Howdy character. Whatever, find a name that suits it a lot better.
Blue Chew thinks R-Truth should be in the group, but
no, he's too funny.
Justin, I look at this and this all sounds great on paper, but I always worry when us fans start to book ourselves into a corner where we're expecting something that was never promised. And a lot of these names, sure, it looks like they can work together, but there's been nothing that makes me think Nikki Cross is a part of this group or Dexter Lumis is a part of this group. Do you think that maybe us fans are getting ahead of ourselves here?
We could be. I think the bottom line is we know something is coming, right? I think at the very least we know Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy or some character is coming, and I feel pretty good to say that Erick Rowan probably too. At the very least, something's coming. Whether we get a whole full 6-person faction, we'll see. Mm-hmm. This is a creative tightrope to walk because you're paying respect to an unbelievable talent who was lost suddenly and way too young. So naturally, the crowd is going to give a little extra leeway. That's going to give a little extra time if it needs to be. If it doesn't bat 1,000 right out the gate, there'll be a little bit of patience out of respect from the fans. I believe that. But it's like, at what point is like, do you judge and say, okay, this is a hit, this is working, and at what point do you have to like say, all right, this is not working, and like you don't want to be faced with this. Okay, it's not working. We need to pivot or audible, but we don't want it to come off as like disrespectful to Bray's legacy that we're giving up on this. Like that's a real thing. The other real component to this. The wrestling world has lost a lot of wrestlers, unfortunately, from different generations. Unfortunately, the wrestling world, WWE specifically, hasn't lost a ton of wrestlers who are currently active on the roster when they passed away. Mm-hmm. Owen Hart passed away tragically, and Brett and the Hart Foundation, the remaining Hart Foundation, they were already out of the company or in WCW, so there was nothing internally to be done in terms of like, oh, we're gonna when Eddie Guerrero passed, it was okay. Ray got to immediately pick up the tribute, but guess what? Rey Mysterio was already going to be a lifelong babyface anyways. Still is. Mm-hmm. Chris Benoit passed away. Obviously, we know the controversy that comes within 48 hours of that, so we're erasing him. What I'm saying is this is not very familiar waters to have a talent actively on the roster suddenly be lost, and then you're trying to pay respect to them, but you're trying to pick up and carry on. Now, there is still the writer that was featured in the Peacock piece, the Peacock documentary. There's still that writer that is there in the company that was working with Bray. He's still with the company, as best I understand. Jason Baker, Tom Savini, the entire guys here in Pittsburgh who do the Funhouse stuff, who did all the masks, all the whatever, they're still around. So you still have these creative forces who help with Bray, who can be part of this and can contribute to this project. So that's encouraging. But again, the man, William Rotundo, was one of a kind. And it is a certain crazy expectation to ask Bo Dallas or whomever the talent are, and then the other writers and special effects people. It's a crazy task to ask them, carry on, pay respect to Bray, and make it as good as people want in their head. All the people involved can put their best effort forth, and it could still be quality. but I'm not sure what the audience's bar of expectation is going to be. And that this is just such an unknown situation. Let it be known, though, I am very excited for this. I want it to work because I argued with Raj many years. I like a little magic in my pro wrestling. I know Raj doesn't like as much magic as Smoke and Mirrors. I like the magic in Smoke and Mirrors. So I'm excited to see this happen. I'm excited to see what they do. I really want it to work, but it is a very unique situation to try to creatively produce.
I think you hit the nail on the head in every way because, I don't know.
Like one more thing. Like one more thing.
Better. Yeah.
Like one more thing, really. So this group, I assume this group when they or whoever it is, again, group, or if it's just Uncle Howdy, or if it's Uncle Howdy and Erick, whatever, whoever on this, we'll just call it the Bray Wyatt Tribute Project. We'll just call that. Mm-hmm. Whoever on this project reappears. I assume they are going to be on the baby face side of things, meaning their first opponents is going to be a heel, because you're not going to ask the crowd to boo this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but what does that mean then long term? Are you creatively forever locked into have it be people or groups that only go against heels because is the crowd ever going to be okay, feel okay booing this? Could this group ever make a heel turn? Or would that feel weird that you're booing a group in a tribute to Bray, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, just things like that. Like, where are your creative limitations? Right. You know what I mean? Like, hypothetical, because he's lived on, he's got a great career and he's great retirement now. If God forbid something would have happened in the late '90s to the man Mark Calloway, and he no longer, and so the Undertaker was no longer a character that WWE could do anymore, you assume the character Kane would carry on whatever tribute and legacy. Does that mean Kane could never be a heel again? Does that mean Kane could never set a person on fire again? Because it would be like, it's just it's a weird situation, and I hope that they can pull it off with the best of intentions and best of production and results.
I think if you take the personal side out of it, because it's obviously a very personal story, you have to, I would say every group needs a reason why they're a group and what they're doing. If it's, so they need to have something, and it can't just be to pay tribute to Bray Wyatt, because again, if you're a good guys, there's 6 of you. You're going to outnumber everybody. That's a very weird situation if it's 6-on-1 against a bad guy. So if it's against another group of other bad guys, I have to figure out why you're in pro wrestling, if that makes sense.
They can only battle the Final Testament, Judgment Day. They can only battle them for so long.
Right.
And right. One of the bloodlines. And one of the
bloodlines. Right. So that's I think even just booking wise, that's a very weird way to have to approach things too. Because I feel like Final Testament falls in that a lot, where I'm like, why are you a group? Like, why are you together? Even though I like the people, it's just I don't get why you're a group. I think Wyatt 6, if that's what we're going to call them, Bray Wyatt group here, I need to know why they're a group. If it's just because we remember Bray Wyatt, that's kind of a weird thing. Yeah. And then at one point, if they ever lose, I'm gonna be like, how could you have the guys who are trying to pay tribute lose? That, I don't know. It's a weird.
Well, and also if it is some of these names that are rumored, again, Bo Dallas is the automatic that makes sense. If assuming he's under a mask, he's a Howdy or something. Rowan, he's been gone for a while, so he's back. That's fine because he's an original Wyatt family member. But Nikki Cross, what was Nikki's win-loss record, and what how great did she look the last time that she was on TV regularly? Dexter Lumis, his thing just kind of fell off after he did the stuff with the Miz and whatever. And he that's a lot of projects to reinvent. That's a lot of So I almost would rather it as, let's just have Bo Dallas as whomever, and maybe Erick Rowan be around. Get some months and mileage out of that, and then
keep the circle tight. And
then later, Dexter Lumis pops up, and he's got to focus for a few months again under this Bray Wyatt universe, if we want to call it. And then, okay, when the time comes when we need a new female character in the mix, Nikki, let it be a universe. Almost let the 6 or family, whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't all have to be at one. Because you're right, Jack. If you have 6 of them at one time, but we know that this is gonna have to probably be a babyface group to start. How the hell are you gonna? You know, so I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think we have to roll out all these characters at once, if that's even any truth to it. If 6 people are even in the running here.